We've got water and ice. Starting out, we have Celeste's ASB, which, ironically, though this may be a water and ice banner, Celeste can deal the most damage with this ASB, doing holy damage. Because she only has a way to get to unholy herself. It's an ice sword, which is it's good, because I think the only one in existence right now... Oh, no, there's two, right? Squall USB 2 and Squall ASB. But anyway. Celeste ASB is good for Ice and Wind because those are the Spellblade abilities. And that's where you're going to be using Celeste. She's a Spellblade. So consider this dual elemental, and I don't know. Yeah, who knows? Maybe her BSB 1 is actually kind of got some legs. It's that 30% buff is somewhat useful, and the ability to unholy yourself, and then use the ASB with it would. It's not a terrible idea. So triple elemental's fine. I like it personally. It's all right. It'll get better when Celeste gets better in the very distant future, in about 6 months. But right now, it's tough to put together either an ice or a wind team in Final Fantasy VI. So it's mostly just for Magicite purposes. And you could use it in Torment if you use her as a fire character on the very obvious fire teams you can put together in Final Fantasy VI. But you're probably going to have Magicites for plus fire damage and lock imperiling fire. So it's not going to deal as much damage, but still, it'll do something. Whatever. It's a pretty decent way to use 750 soul break points. Titus ASB, which is a 21 hit ASB. On one of the best water characters in the game. He's got the chain. He doesn't mind dealing a lot of hits to deal his damage. It's just an ASB on a really good character, so okay, sure. All right, here we got something new. Sarah's chain. I not that thrilled with Sarah as a chain holder. She's just kind of a run-of-the-mill mage, where she has a 25% chance to dual cast LMR, a poor legend dive, and doesn't do any supporty things or utility like White Magic 4, or I think the best thing that she has available to her is as a supporting cast mage would be her BSB 2. Oh, she does eventually get White Magic 4? Okay, well that does help. Sarah's BSB 2 is an Imperil Ice burst, and it kind of stinks. You know, they had a great opportunity to give us Sarah's BSB 2 here on the banner itself, but they give us her BSB 1, which is one of the first sources of N-Ice in the game. It's really weak. It really is just that. It's a source of N-Ice. So it's okay. But again, Sarah's not that great of a chain holder, but that's okay. Because Ice Magic is one of those elements that Onionite does not cover. So what you're looking at for outside sources would be Vivi and Palom, and a few Ice Mages in the game. There's really just not that many. So even though she's not like, crazy utility character, she's still one of the few that you've got. So she's still pretty powerful. So this is a pretty good pickup. Next up, Rydia's USB 2. They tried once and kind of failed. Rydia's USB 1 is underpowered and really underwhelming. Rydia's USB 2, there's nothing special about it, but it is good. It's just finally a good soul break. Rydia's USB 2 is 10 single target, water, non-elemental, and water gives her a self buff and 5-hit chase. It's Mod Author 2 when removed, which is useful because you're probably going to be using not Ogopogo, what's it? Some friggin' Leviathan. Anyway, 6-star water ability. You could use Ogopogo if you wanted, but you want to use the 6-star water ability because water summon, because it's 4 hits instead of 3. So anyway, it's actually decent, and with so few water mages in the game, it automatically makes Rydia an actual desirable soul break. Lunar Leviathan, thank you. So that's not bad. Here's the problem is, if I can help it, I don't want to touch water mages, so I would actually rather cover my water mages with both VV and Palom. But if you only got one of them, or you got none of them, this is a good thing to get. Getting that Strago chain is pretty. No, it's not even that like essential, because I honestly think Tidus is so powerful that he could probably be used on a Magic team with the 6-star Sapphire Blast or whatever, Sapphire Plan to Destroy, whatever that he has. Honestly, if you don't chase too hard for Strago chain, try to make Tidus chain work too. Sapphire Blitz, whatever. Yeah, so honestly, that's my plan, is to use Tidus chain and VV USB, and then try to fill in the gaps there. But Rydia USB 2 would still be a good member on that team, because adding to that chain is pretty damn important. Otherwise, Tidus isn't going to do any damage. Riku chain. She has Bard 4, so she can do Proteka, Shelga, whatever. She's Bard 6, right? She could do something at least. Renoa chain and Tidus. Ice chain and water damage dealer? Wouldn't suggest. Riku and Tidus together would be great on a physical team. I probably wouldn't use Tidus on a magical team if I'm not using his chain. His chain is what buffs everyone else's damage, and he contributes a lot to buffing the damage of the chain. We're not, mega whales, so we can't make physical water completely work that great. If you are, I mean, all the more power to you, but I'm not going to suggest anyone defeats magical content with a physical team because it takes a lot of money. Either a lot of money or completely focusing every mithril that you ever get to it. Anyway, that's Rydia USB 2. It's good. Celeste USB. I talked about this briefly at the start of the stream. It is very good. Just because it's not 100% on the same level as VV and Palom, it's pretty close, like 80-90%. Just because Spellblade abilities aren't as developed as Black Magic, which makes it harder to include her on every single team. And the neat, awesome little holes The VV and Palom fill with water teams and wind teams and earth teams don't really exist as much on physical teams. It's easier to create physical teams, so her versatility does get buried a little bit. Throw a little dust on top of it. But Celeste USB is still really good. Because with the right spell blades, she can be very powerful in 6 different elements. So it's a good time. Right, she does 6, water, fire, ice, wind, earth. Yeah, she does all 6 elements. I don't think so, Chaos. I've looked at a few of the AI lists for 5-star Magicites, and it almost looked exclusively NAT. Okay, so that's our 6-star section. It's good. It's good. Is her dive worthy now, Celeste? The thing about Celeste's dive is that it does not provide damage directly. It could provide damage for you if it makes sense to use a lot of soul break points on her. Here's the issue with that. Celeste Glint isn't bad if you use it at the right time. So having those extra soul break points, like if you use this 1 or 2 turns before you ASB with her, this 100% critical 2 and high quick cast 2 could actually be pretty good. So let's say that you got her Glint, you got her ASB. That's 1,000 soul break points right there. Let's say you got a USB as well. That's 1,500 soul break points you're using in a fight. Okay. If you've got the stuff, I think Celeste's dive can be good. But if you're just using her as a Vivian Palom clone, where you bring her into a fight and you're doing damage basically exclusively ability doubling spell blades, no. It doesn't do anything. Because you're not going to use a whole lot of soul breaks on her. But in her home element, which would be ice and wind, I suppose holy too, and you can find different ways to use a bunch of soul. You need to use those soul break points on things that substantially increase your damage output, that make it worth using them. And right, what Chaos said is a good way to put it. Soul break spam is usually a DPS loss. There's only a few characters that can spam soul breaks at a point where it makes sense that all of those soul break points are being put and converted into enough damage to make it worth using those instead of abilities. Consider that it hasn't been that long since we started getting 6-star abilities. Back when all we had to spam were 5-star abilities, spamming soul breaks made a lot more sense. Remember Terra OSB spam? It's still good. It's probably going to be good for a long time. But Terra Chain Faraja spam is better because it takes no soul break points, and it also has an upper damage limit of 100,000 because she has a chance to dual cast. It attacks faster. It's just better. So since 6-star abilities came out, you really, really, really need to have the best of the best in order to make soul break spam work. Which means that, it will require some pretty special stuff to make all those extra soul break points on Celeste worth a damn. And her in particular, because her primary benefit as a character is using abilities. She doesn't want to use soul breaks, because she wants to ability double those spell blades. And if I have any problem here, it's with that. It's that Celeste is kind of a weird character right now, where I suppose if you have everything that she has, then yep, go ahead, a diver, be my guest. But I think she finally develops into a pretty damn powerful character once she finally starts getting even more soul breaks. 6 months from now, 4th anniversary. Yeah, Kane and Fang OSB spam with the USB buff. They can convert soul break points into some pretty substantial DPS. So there's 2 slots on this banner taken up by kind of a weird, versatile DPS in Celeste. Titus is obviously really good. Sarah is obviously really good because chains. And Rydia is good, but no, Rydia is just good. Let's just say that. It's hard to get water mages, and that's finally a decent water mage, which is just, should be crazy. So it is a good start, top end to a banner, but it's not overwhelmingly good. Oh, here's something I didn't talk about. I probably should have when Circo brought up Renoa's chain accidentally as a water chain, but Renoa's chain is a quick cast, a global quick cast 2 to the party chain, and Renoa's a friggin' crazy mage. So if you do have access to Renoa's chain, then Sarah's chain, even though it is a generation 2, it loses a lot of its appeal. So that's something to think about too. Okay, moving on, Celeste Glint. I talked about how to use Celeste Glint. I would not use it together with anything but her ASB. Otherwise, it's probably just a waste of soul break points. Well, maybe in her off elements where she's not dealing as much damage. If you've got her dived, in an instant 250 soul break point use, and you 100% critical the next 2 attacks, that can be really good if you're using like a 5-hit Spellblade and you have plenty of room to grow that damage. Say those next 2 Spellblade attacks were doing 6,000 damage a hit. That's a lot. What does this glint provide to you? It provides it turns those 6,000 damage hits into 9,000 damage hits. So 15,000 damage for each Spellblade. You're using 2 of them, so 30,000 damage a turn. And you get 2 turns of it, so you're basically increasing your damage output by... This green screen is like playing with my mind. 60,000 damage in that case. $60,000 damage for 250 soul break points. Plus, that's not including the high quick cast too. I think in the right situations, I guess you could probably make a case for using this. But it would have to be one where you're getting no external buffs. No Onion Knight physical USB, because you're already getting 50%, so you're only getting 50% more with this. And no external cast speed buffs. So no Aerith USB 2, no Realm USB from the Torment, no Alara USB. In those cases, I can probably see a good case for this. But you just have to think about it before using. Alright, here we go. 4 BSBs. Edge BSB. It's M water for a ninja. There is the issue where ninjas DNA realized their mistake. Ninjas aren't as good anymore. And when I say aren't as good, I don't mean bad. because it's nay impossible to make ninjas bad, but they are AI'd against. The AI scripts in a lot of the fights are anti-ninja, like double physical attacks, double group physical attacks. So you spend a lot of time with your ninjas generating blink stacks. If you want to use those high damage 5-star abilities. So honestly, Edge BSB does not appeal to me at all anymore. His Super Soul Break 2? Absolutely. If his Super Soul Break 2 was here on this banner, I would say definite win. Thank you very much. His BSB, I don't really. I have no desire for it. Sarah BSB1 talked about this a little bit. It's a trash burst, but it does give a chain holder and ice, the ice chain holder and ice. Useful for something, I guess. It's not the best use of 500 soul break points, that's for sure. If you're already chaining with the person, let me. How many hits is it? Is it at least 8? Show me at least 8. So I feel like I'd rather be just casting abilities and adding to the chain and increase other people's damage instead of my own meager damage. It's 8 hits. It's got that going for it. So it's not awful. It's not a complete dud. It's still quite undesirable as far as stuff on banners go. Riku BSB2 is better than Sarah's. Riku is another chain holder. This is an N water burst for the water chain holder. But it's better because it's much more common to create a team in Final Fantasy X based around water attacks than it is in Final Fantasy 13 based around ice attacks. So it's not awful, but still only marginally more desirable than Sarah's BSB1. Not that great. So 3 pretty underwhelming bursts so far, and we get Snow's burst, which is kind of more interesting. Yeah, it's more interesting, all 3 of those. It's Ice Light Armor, still a rare armor type, so that's pretty cool, and it is Last Stand of the party, which, you know, Last Stand always has uses. Just being able to, you know, identify a point in the fight where the healer can't keep up, but if you give him a turn, when Snow can do that, you know, a little ice block, you know, Jaina the team, you get the most useful BSB on the list, and it's probably the oldest. Oh no, God, it's hard to get older than this. Rydia LMR2, start battle with M Water. How's that for her? Good, because Rydia doesn't do anything but cast magic. She doesn't do anything but try to blow people up. It's got White Magic 3, right? She can dispel. I don't know if that's useful at all in the Fire Magicite. But anyway. This allows her to start by slinging some Ogopogos to start the fight, to generate soul break points. It's fine. It's okay. Rydia, it's a good problem to have that Rydia's LM2 is 35% chance to dual cast with summoning. So she doesn't really need this LMR, but it's still good. It's still good. Better than her LMR1, which is just junk. Celeste LMR, it's 25% chance to dual cast Spellblades. Very good for a character that basically does nothing but cast Spellblades. So yes, please. I will have another. Edge LMR has a chance to generate blink stacks. That is like I think we've always considered that a pretty good LMR, but now in this era of, okay, we're going to screw over ninjas by having a bunch of crazy air effect physical attacks in all the ninja fights. I think these LMRs actually increase in value by a lot because they make these ninjas much more usable. So honestly, I'd be more interested in picking this up than his BSB. Both of them together, then you may be able to put together a decent ninja for dealing with future content. Sarah LMR has a 25% chance to dual cast ice abilities or black magic. Well, whichever. She's probably just going to be used for ice anyway. Oh, she only has white magic too? Well, never mind. Uh, that was Rydia East Burning Red saying that Rydia only has white magic too, which is useless. There's a big, big difference between white magic 2 and white magic 3. White magic 3 is actually not bad because faith is still a good ability. So Sarah, 25% chance to dual cast. It's also ice armor. This is actually pretty decent for an LMR. So the LMR section here isn't bad. Personally, not that interested in getting Edge's LMR because I have Yuffie as my water ninja. So, but if I had Edge's Super Soul Break 2, then this would be a win for me. So this banner. One issue that immediately comes to mind is the chain on it, which are basically the most powerful soul breaks for Magicites, is for ice, which is one of the last Magicites. So we will be getting the Wind Magicite, which this chain will be good for, about 5 months from now. So not a pressing need. It's so far away, in fact, that that's like a couple months before 4th anniversary. So that need for ice can be put off for a long time. That need for wind can be put off for even longer. So you're basically, as far as needs go, I'd be pulling on this banner for magical water. Luckily, Celeste USB is as many elements as Spellblades can do, so that's still a decent thing. And Celeste USB is also good in the Torment, because it allows you to custom tailor your element to whatever element the party's doing, which is probably fire. So Celeste USB is good in both Magicite and Torment. So it is a good, really good pickup, and one of the primary reasons I had originally considered pulling on this banner. But I don't care about almost anything else on here. Celeste LMR is good. Snow BSB1 is good. Sarah LMR is still good, even though I don't care about dealing magical ice damage because of the elementaliness of it. Do any of these relics return? I don't know. I can't accurately answer the question because I haven't looked deeply enough at the Final Fantasy, not the 4th anniversary banners. I know Sarah's chain recurs on the next Final Fantasy 13 event, which is pretty good for torment purposes. I may be forced to skip this banner, even though I originally wanted to pull on it, just because I think I'm really not pulling for all that much here. Celeste USB, Rydia USB 2. I wouldn't mind getting Sarah's CSB now. Titus ASB is obviously a big win. This is why the banner is so weird. Is it's full of stuff I want, but don't have a burning desire for, I guess. It's Bart's. What do you mean? There's no Bart's on this banner. Oh, yeah. Almost certainly if Bart's was on this banner, I'd be pulling on it. But he's not. If Onion Knight's USB 3 was on this banner instead of Rydia USB, I'd be much more inclined to pull on it. Now, he was never on the banner, because this is the only version of the banner that's ever existed. Yeah, I'll probably be skipping this one. There's too many things here that I'm just much more okay with putting off until 4th anniversary. Yeah. So it is a good point that for someone like me who's definitely going to scale back any pulling plans before 4th anniversary, the things that I still like are extremely high value things like Bart's, and the fact that he covers so much, because it's one of those stopper characters that can allow me to defeat all the content that I want to complete before the major power creep increase in March. Stopgap, yeah. Celeste definitely helps. She's one of those characters. But I think I'm okay waiting until Celeste gets better. Not that we know of yet, hey Daddy. But I would count on it. The game is going to get too easy with some of the stuff that's been introduced in 4th anniversary. They're going to need to increase the difficulty of a lot of the stuff that comes after. My God. Gotta use the facilities a lot. It's all this water I'm drinking. Alright. Any other comments about this banner? Questions? Alright. Can we get Japan's version, not back? Because that would imply that we had the Japan's banner at one point. We never did. It's not semantics because it's important. It's important to realize that these are the banners that we have. We always knew that these banners were very, very strong possibility, that changes were going to occur. And it's good practice for the future, because do not get yourself hyped up for banners that we do not know will exist for us.